too many moments from that game. Like I still find it hard to capture words for how I feel and get my thoughts fully collected from the game. I mean, this almost seems as big as if it was a Super Bowl game, just because of the newfound rivalry that's happening for the win that it had to be. With as much shit as the Bengals and their fan base was talking, there was no more of a bigger like must win game out, that the Kansas City Chiefs have played in a while. Um, and we've got ourselves what seems to be the newest rivalry, and I, I still find it's like
The
the words.
Bills are just a thing of the past now. It's us and the
Like
Bengals
it really what
from
like
here on
they
out.
had the Bills had an opportunity, and here's the thing is like the Bengals might lose it too. Like let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't know what either one
Yeah,
of
their
these, the
window
Bengals
isn't that
and the
big.
Bills, are made of, because the information that came out today from the league um uh is that the 32 teams have been informed that for this next season the cap space will increase to 224.8 million from the 208 million. So it does go up 16.5 million dollars moving forward, at least in the next season. Now that is great news for the Chiefs, right? Because we already have Patrick Mahomes under contract. That helps us out moving forward. But for the Bills, who do have their guy under contract, who's actually just starting his contract coming up, that's going to hurt them. And for the Bengals, they haven't even given Joe Burrow an extension, not including they still need to sign T. Higgins and then Jamar Chase and you Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon on whatever deal he's got, and like trying to keep a lot of those defensive players together. I mean, we're gonna have to see what these types of teams are made out of, and is it going to be a revolving door of new teams to try and come and bash the Kansas City Chiefs, or is it going to be the same? Is like we're actually going to be able to have a rival?
No matter what, every year, whoever we're going to play the AFC Championship, the next year they're going to be the rival team
Oh, for
because they were the
sure.
last ones to be there. They're favored to get back more than likely. So it's going to switch every
Well,
single year.
The Bills couldn't get it done against us in the playoffs, and the Bengals did. So
That's the other one.
and the 3-0 thing. I mean, it just played into little storybook type, finish to the season. Lose again to the Bengals. When it matters the most, AFC Championship game, who pulls it out? The big dogs.
When it matters the most, you're going to pull it out. Um, Injuries were big,
Well,
and we've got a little bit of time before the Super Bowl comes up. We had Juju go down, or I guess L'Jarius Sneed went down first, and then Juju goes down. Then you've got Kadarius Toney, who can't stay healthy in New York. He can't stay healthy in Kansas City. Willie Gay goes down. McCole Hardman goes back down again, so he really wasn't fully ready to go. What's this mean for us to be able to pull out this sort of game, and what should we be looking for in a couple of weeks?
We should be looking for our guys to heal up. They don't seem like the biggest injuries, just small injuries that would keep them out of that game. Hopefully they'll get ready to go. It goes to show you, next man up, our guys are ready.
next man up, spread the ball around. I mean, Travis didn't have a monster game. MVS had that role, and Pacheco had 5 catches. And multiple other people had two. So I mean, we use everybody. We got weapons all over the place, even if it don't look like it on paper.
I guess I owe
When
MVS
when
some
they're
sort of
going down,
apology.
Big apology.
I guess I owe MVS some sort of apology. I still don't believe that MVS you can do it for an entire season, but you're turning out to be much like Frank Clark. You show up when the moment needs you the most, and for as small of a contract as we pay you, I'll take it.
I would compare it more to Sammy Watkins almost.
Sammy Watkins never showed up because he was always injured.
He showed up in the playoffs, that Super Bowl
Or the
run.
first game of the
One,
season.
one
Yeah,
year.
yeah, 1 year. This is what we're
One
getting. One
year.
year with MVS. So
Well, we still got him under
I
contract for
think
2.
I think
I think he
MVS.
sticks around.
I think he just solidified himself on this team next year.
yep.
Do I
Pat
want him to
likes
come
him
back? No.
plenty.
Is he going to come back? Yes.
I mean, he's a talented guy and he's 6'4". I got no problem. I mean, the adjustments. Pat's looked at him on that route before. It was kind of a bad pass thrown by Pat, and MVS made the adjustment to turn back around to get the ball. I mean, I think he's building great rapport with Patrick Mahomes, and he's shown the ability to make it when the time counted.
Keep him on the
I
roster.
think he's talented enough, and the fact that he slept on played into the reason why he was able to show out in this game.
We keep him on the roster. Do you guys want Juju to come back? And if we keep Juju, do we also go and try to sign like a real number one or try to draft one?
Absolutely, we would. No matter if we keep him or not, we're going to try to upgrade defensive line and wide receivers this summer, this draft offseason.
Are we paying CJ just based off of this game alone?
I mean, fantastic year, yeah.
So it's so possible.
You're
Yeah.
looking at AD type money. I'm not asking like if we think Brett Veach will. I'm asking if you will. Would
Yes, I
you
would.
sign Chris
100%.
Jones to 80 type money after the season that he's had this year? 15 and a half sacks, should be 16 and a half. He's finally got the playoff sack monkey off of his back, and he's been destroying teams left and right with it without the numbers.
The reason being I would do it 100% is retooling the defensive line this offseason, get another huge body in there, work with him, somebody that would be just as disruptive as him, to learn from him. 2-3 year extension, send him off then. Build the next guy.
I don't know if I agree with 30 million a year, but yeah, I mean, we're talking AD money regardless. If we're going to have the cap space that they've been talking about with the $100 million, hey, you know what? Give it to him. He deserves it.
If we re-sign Juju, the only way it happens is, or the only way I want it to happen is if it's like a major discount, because we can't pay him the money that maybe his numbers might typically generate, or whatever the deciding factors are on that, because he's injury prone. We can't pay him to sit on, be in the IR tent.
I don't think he would go if he's gonna try and garner big money, Juju. See ya. I'm okay with him leaving or staying, whatever he wants to do. But yeah, like if he's gonna stay, it needs to be for that discount. His production level has not been good enough. There were the high hopes there, right? But then he tapered off. It hasn't looked great. Hasn't been available. If he had 1,000+ yards, all right, we'll talk. But no, I'm fine if he goes or if he stays on a small fee. Let's talk about.
I mean,
Probably
933 yards this season. I'm happy with what he did, but hurt too much.
let's talk about what everybody on social media has been moping and complaining about. Anybody who's not a Kansas City fan, the penalties in this game. A lot of people have been saying that this is the worst officiated game that they've ever seen in their life. That this game should be replayed.
There's a game every year that people say that about, so it does not matter. The refs have been complained about all season, and it's been complained about throughout the history of the NFL every fucking season. It is what it is. The refs are the constant factor in these games. Corruption or not, NFL officiating is always subject to something. I mean, people are going to have their own opinions, and I don't think most of the non calls on holding penalties that the Bengals fans are talking about none of them are, you know, they're close calls in a big game. Like the refs could go either way on those, and most of them weren't even egregious and are not getting called in regular games. So, if you want to be mad at somebody, you need to be mad at the people that were running the clock. That, um, look, FBI, look into the guys that were running our clocks because they gave us third down a bunch of times because they were fucking it up. The one of the refs was trying to call off that play, and if any player, especially like on the Bengals side, because that's where he was running in at, he was running in from behind the defense. If they were taking that play off because I know they got the result they wanted technically, but if they heard the whistle from that guy running in from the back and like didn't play on that down, they were going to want that third down replayed. So stuff like that happens, and nothing came of it. Bengals
Yeah,
had every opportunity to win this game.
every opportunity. Joe Burrow sacked 5 times, interception, 2 interceptions.
Two.
Should have been 3.
Didn't
We got past my number. If
Yes.
we got him on the ground 4 times, we were going to win this game.
And we did. And there's a lot when it comes down to the refs. One thing that I'd been talking with a buddy who is a Chiefs hater. He goes, "This is the worst officiated game I've ever seen." I said, "You've never watched Carl Sheffer's referee a game. That's Carl Sheffer's any game, not just against the Chiefs. Any game that Carl Sheffer's does, it's the worst game you've ever seen." On top of that, while the officiating was subpar, it wasn't very good. Everybody can agree with that on both sides, but it was bad. It was poor officiating equally. It wasn't in the favor of one team or the other. It was just poor officiating on both sides that didn't lead to one team having the edge over the other. Now, at the end of the game, the Kansas City Chiefs do get that unnecessary roughness when you throw Patrick Mahomes out of bounds. But if it's Joe Burrow, you're going to want the same thing. And it's 3 steps out of bounds. If you're not calling that, then you're doing a disservice to the game. Don't push a player out of bounds when they're 3 steps out. You don't have a problem. And I thought it was bad on NBC, CBS, whoever ran the broadcast. Shame on you for showing Joseph Asai on the sideline, like in that like shame on you. I don't want as a person who's trying to celebrate. I don't want to see that because then that just brings my mood down. But also, like that just makes me feel bad for that guy because you know how hard he worked to be in that situation, and he goes and screws it up. Like everybody's been there before, and I don't want to get the camera off that guy.
He had a hell of a game too.
Hell, he tore
one
us
mistake,
up.
one mistake, and they're going to tear him down like that.
And I mean, playing hard was the reason that he got that.
Exactly.
He was trying to finish the play, and it's an honest mistake. It's something that's going to happen in that type of situation. But please, if you can't, if there's nothing to bitch about, you're going to bitch about the refs. The real reason the Bengals lost this game is because they couldn't capitalize.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you look at everything. We locked up them boys. Like nobody on like one of the things that we talked about was one of their receivers always has a hell of a game against us, and that just wasn't the case. Nobody really had a great day. We were able to get to Joe Burrow. Like not
I
much
think they
to be
should have
said.
gone
Spags.
to Mixon more. I think they fell victim to the narrative about our offense as we try to get one dimensional throwing the ball. And if I feel like if they would have gone to Mixon more, we might have had more trouble, especially with moving Gabian out.
He only touched the ball 11 times, 8 carries for 19 yards. He had 3 receptions for 15. It's not like he was doing a lot while he was in. Samaje was a little bit better, 5 for 22, and then 3 for 4 in receiving. A little bit better, but yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's where most of their attack comes from. They build from the backfield. being able to do a lot of play action zone reads. Like that's what Joe Burrow and the Bengals are best at in disguising. And you got to give hats off to Spags too. As much as critical as I have been of Spags, and I still want him out of Kansas City, no complaints. This is the best coach game I think he's ever had in his entire career. I don't think he's ever coached as good. I, he's never coached as good than
Against
this
the
game.
Patriots in the Super Bowl?
Dude, he had an
Man,
all-star. He had an all-star riddled team. You're telling me that you Strahan and did an all-star riddled team, and then you're going to come to Kansas City and you got Chris Jones.
I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't tremendous, but
This was his
look,
best called game.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I saw some write ups and stuff about Spags and the adjustments that he made. Look, I don't.
he doesn't think what.
Oh.
We'll get back to Tybo in just a second.
Go back to Tybo.
Oh, man.
Oh, there we go. Lost it.
Am I unfrozen now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
Goodness. But anyways, I don't think he coached this game much differently than he does most other games. I don't know if there's anything Spags actually did exceptionally well except rock with his guys like is that Andy's known for, and I think it was more so better player execution. These rookies stepped up. There were guys playing with a lot of heart out there. I still saw our rookies in one-on-one situations with a very talented wide receiver group, and there was time sitting in the stands, where my butt's really clenched, and our guys made plays. I thought, I was like, these are the situations that Spags put those guys in, and we're usually, or more often than not, we're getting beat in those situations. The game plan that I was guessing, and a lot of people were guessing that he was going to go with, mixing up the blitzes and stuff like that. We didn't blitz very often. We didn't. We had a lot of disguised looks as far as our coverages, but I didn't think we sent too many guys after Joe Burrow. We were getting home with mainly D linemen.
Well, that was part of. I mean, that had to be part of the game plan. As you talked about with blitzes. That's Spags' calling card, especially this season, is the offhanded blitzes. So we didn't send many of those. I think part of the change in the game plan was we know that the Bengals are out two starting offensive linemen, one of which was, I believe, their left tackle who had only played in one NFL game prior to Sunday night. Just let our guys get in there and eat, and allow us to do a mix of zone man coverage up high, down low. Let the linebackers excel at where they're best at. Some of them dropping in coverage, and some of them running up and filling the holes, and that's why they were able to get away from the run game. And I think Spags, part of that was given the issues from the Bengals of injuries and us being able to execute at a higher level in areas of which we're not usually executing at. And it's a combination for great things. But I think that's also what makes this one of his best coach games is that he was able to make the adjustments based upon what we could do and be able to get those guys in the right spot. No, I would not have guessed Chris Jones above half a sack on Sunday before the game, and he walks out with two.
Sean
Hey.
wanted 3.5.
You wanted 3.5.
You have that.
I wanted Karlaftis with 2.5. So I mean, hey, we knew these guys were going to go off. It was just a matter of who and at what point.
The key factor was the D-line play and getting home on Joe Burrow. That's what dictated the way this game went for our defense. But the back end really limited the mistakes. They played well. They stepped up in big time situations. We made more plays than they did. Their receivers made some catches. Jamar Chase mossed double coverage a couple times. T. Higgins got open, here and there, but we just made more plays. And hats off to our rookies back there, man. The three in the secondary: Brian Cook, Josh Williams, and Jalen Watson, like just made plays.
What about Trent McDuffie?
And Trent McDuffie, 4. Sorry, he had 6 tackles.
He
and 2
is
pass
one of the
breakups.
best shoestring tacklers I've seen in a long
good.
time.
So good. He's afraid to get hit, but he will bring you down no matter what.
Save himself. I'm fine. It's like Tyler Lockett catching the ball and just going down. Like, I mean, do what you got to do to stay playing.
Is there any aspect from this game that like you're really excited to be able to go up against this Eagles team with? I mean, hopefully Pat is healthy. We get the rest of the guys back healthy. But is there an aspect of this Chiefs team that you're excited to have go against this very, very strong Eagles team?
The trench game. That's how I'm looking forward to, man. Our defensive line against their great offensive line, and our offensive line against a really, really solid defensive line.
Does OB get that money you guys were talking about? Had himself a hell of a game.
Not as much as he would want, but definitely he got himself a little bit more.
It helped him. It helped him with that like extra milli, 2 milli.
I think it's enough to get the front office to bite on the contract or come pretty close to the contract he wants.
I think so. I think he's also willing to come down from what his initial expectations were given his first half of the season struggles.
I think this is quite possibly the best matchup in the trenches that the NFL is going to see the entire year. And it's the most important phase of the game today. Offensive line and defensive line are integral to what you want to do as a football team. And we're getting just a star-studded, stellar matchup in the Super Bowl, as it should be. And it's
you want to talk about star-studded matchup. I mean, let's just jump over to the Eagles, man. They had Lane Johnson, a guy who had the adductor, the oblique issue that was not going to be playing, not only comes in and plays his ass off, holds Nick Bosa 0 pressures, 0 QB hits, 0 sacks. What a man. Like that offensive line for the Eagles is tough.
I don't necessarily want to talk about all the good players on the Eagles team because then I'm just going to get frustrated and maybe a little bit more nervous. If our offense comes out, if our offense is healthy and we could juggernaut them. I mean, we can put up points, and our defense will only have to make one stop to win this game.
Do you remember the game we played him again last year? The no punt game?
Was it a no punt game? Jeez. That's teams. Right. Yes. That is right. Could be another one of those. Could be a hard defensive stand. I mean, Andy and Nick Sirianni know each other very well. How do we feel about the 49ers? Like, I feel kind of bad for them. They've had a hell of a season. You start off with Trey Lance, who fractured his fibula and had the ligament damage in the ankle, requiring 2 surgeries. Jimmy Garoppolo, who suffered the broken foot and is now a free agent. You go to your third quarterback, who goes 6-0 and loses in the NFC Championship game because he tears his ulnar collateral ligament and will need Tommy Johns to fix that. Minimum 6 months.
Yeah. Then they go to Josh Johnson, 4th string quarterback.
Gets a concussion.
Then they have Christian McCaffrey throwing passes as the 5th or the 6th string.
Going 0-2.
I saw something about they had Juwan Johnson or one of their receivers was a high school quarterback that was a higher prospect than Joe Burrow. They had somebody else to go to.
Juszczyk was also there. as a former quarterback. Like
At that point, they
just
should have just gone Wildcat. Like have Debo or Christian McCaffrey back there running it. Somebody's going to
would have
break
been
one off
more of a
eventually.
threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
They got the athletes for that.
They do. I mean, Kyle Shanahan only likes to run the ball. I don't know why didn't he just pull out plays out of his back pocket for that?
Man just
That
wasn't
was
prepared. He wasn't ready for his quarterback to tear his UCL on the second drive of the game.
he should have been. I mean, the rest of his quarterbacks have gone down. Why
Yeah,
shouldn't
knowing
he
their
expect
luck
that
for
one?
real.
Come on, Kyle. I would. I don't even.
Cal,
There's not a whole. There's not a whole lot to come out with about that game. I mean, it just sucks for the 49ers.
just
Old
goes to
Greg
show you,
Kittle.
man, you can have a great team, but if you don't have a quarterback, if every quarterback that you have on your roster gets hurt, you're probably not going to win a game. You need quarterbacks to win football.
We're talking
Multiple,
to you, Griffin.
apparently. Thank God for Chad Henne.
Hey, you come in and get it done when you need it.
Chad
Let's
Henne
talk.
Super Bowl ring. Chad Henne Super Bowl win.
Let's talk a little bit about this matchup. I don't know if unless there's some crazy news that'll come out, we probably won't have a show to come out until our pre-game show here in the next couple weeks. But let's do a little preview of this. We've got the Eagles, we've got the Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl. Is it Super Bowl 50, 56, 57? I don't even know. Somewhere in there.
I think it's 57.
57. First two black quarterbacks to meet in the Super Bowl. You got Andy. Interesting note for Andy Reid. He is 6-0 all-time Chiefs versus Eagles. He is 3-0 as the Eagles head coach. He is 3-0 against the Chiefs. As the Chiefs head coach, he is 3-0 against the Eagles. 6-0 with both. Nick Sirianni, former offensive assistant in Kansas City. We know each other very well. What does this game look like 2 weeks prior?
A fun one. The best game that you could have formulated preseason. The two best teams in the NFL, that's for damn sure. And we were on a soft rebuild.
Soft.
We have the most rookies active on our team this year, and we're still making the Super Bowl.
Who won the draft this year? Let's definitively just say that we did. Okay, who has
Easy.
more rookies contributing right now? Nobody.
No one close.
It's the rosters are kind of opposite here, right? Like they have a lot of veteran talent. They have a few rookie stars. I think Jordan Davis is their most notable one. Am I correct?
Yep. I would say so.
But AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, like they're performers, they're contributors, they're not rookies. They have a stacked team. They did a lot of work in the offseason acquiring important guys in important positions.
That coaching staff there is good. They know how to game plan well. Jalen is scary when it comes to being able to run the ball. Like, man, we're gonna have to contain all day. I think if we can force Jalen to throw, stay in the pocket and have to throw, I think that's where Kansas City is going to see their bread and butter defensively. If we can make Jalen have to throw all day, I think that is where we can win the day.
Historically, our defense is good against running quarterbacks. Lamar might be the exception as of late, but generally, when running with the quarterback is a part of the other team's game plan, the Chiefs usually do pretty well. Maybe that's Andy's insight on defense. You know, maybe he just knows how to defend against running quarterbacks.
That's his one contributing factor for the defense. One thing I know I'm probably going to get tired of, I don't know about you guys, but between now and the Super Bowl and how many times they're going to mention it during the Super Bowl, the Kelsey brother matchup.
Yeah.
It's already started. First set of brothers to play in the Super Bowl.
I'm happy for him.
I'm happy for them too, but
I don't know why.
They're gonna tear this into the ground over the next 2 weeks. It's gonna be nonstop.
Well,
every little segment you see.
I wonder if they're gonna
Kelsey
put out
brothers.
a podcast.
That's kind of what I was wondering. I was
should.
wondering if they'll actually do it or not. They've got a good enough relationship. I would expect them to, but I also would understand if they decide not to.
The one after the Super Bowl though that they put out, that's going to be a good one. Must listen.
Yeah.
I mean,
if they do,
one brother has to lose here. Like one might be bitter. I could see Travis being pretty bitter.
Travis would be very bitter.
Just cutting the podcast off there.
Yeah, bro,
I'm excited for it. Is there anything that from either of the games that we didn't cover that you guys wanted to talk about?
Well, there's not a whole lot to talk about in the NFC matchup. Like both teams were good, both teams were stacked with talent, but the narrative is the injury issues at the quarterback position. You literally can't win without a quarterback.
And the Eagles had a very easy road facing quarterbacks going to the Super Bowl. They had Daniel Jones, and then Brock Purdy, Josh Johnson, a little bit of Christian McCaffrey. Patrick Mahomes is not one of them.
Let's just take a look at the Eagles' schedule all year. I don't really think they faced many tests. You had the Lions on the front half, who weren't very good at the beginning of the season. You had the Vikings.
That's not true.
Fraudulent. You had the Commies at the front half of the season, which weren't good at the front half. You played the Jags, who were playoff team. You had the Cardinals. You had the Cowboys, who were fine. Pittsburgh, who was awful. The Texans. You played the Commies again, and you got beat. Yeah, the Colts, the Packers, the Titans, the Giants, the Bears, Cowboys again, Saints, and then the Giants. I don't feel that their schedule was all that difficult outside of the division.
Well, the NFC was significantly weaker than the AFC this year. I think that's fairly obvious. And then they got to go through one of the weaker divisions in the AFC. They got to go through the AFC South. So, yeah, they had an easier schedule than most. And they definitely haven't faced a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes this year.
Yeah. I don't think they've faced a team as good as the Chiefs. Obviously, we're in the Super Bowl, but there have been comparable teams to us this year, say the Bills and the Bengals. I'm excited. I'm excited. This is I'm already nervous. I don't know about you guys.
I think it's going to be a great game.
It's going to be a long 2 weeks to get to the game, but
the only thing that's making me nervous is the health issues. I just putting out all forms of energy, prayer, meditation, whatever we want to do to bring the health of these individuals so that they could play football at or near 100% on February 12th.
That'll be
my sister's
the
birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Oh, hey, yo. That'll be fun. Be a good old time. Well, listen, folks, we've got the Pro Bowl coming up, AFC versus NFC. No Chiefs players are going to be in it. Obviously, they can't be. So we got to get ready for the Super Bowl. Then we'll have a full week's worth of coverage for the Super Bowl coming up, and our pregame show will be in there. You don't want to miss a single second of it, so stick around. Hit us up on our socials. We'll be putting out some information, and if there's not a ton of news out, we'll see you right before the game. And as always, go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
We're going to the Super Bowl, baby!